Hello and welcome to a new video. In this video, I want to showcase you the Paladin on Project Epoch. Project Epoch is a private server which will come out soon, which is a great Classic Plus option, and you can learn everything about it in this video. So I can't record my videos myself at the moment because I don't have internet in my new apartment where I recently moved, but MuzzyTV, a new content creator on Project Epoch, made a video about the whole Paladin class and made a whole class overview. He allowed me to react on this video, so I will watch this video with you together and I will try to give my own opinions about the new changes for Paladin, especially Retribution Paladin on Project Epoch. So let's dive in.
Hello and welcome in. Today we're going to be diving deep into Paladins and Project Epoch. I sat down for over 3 hours with 2 expert Paladins from the Epoch Discord, and we talked buffs, reworks, and everything this class is shaping up to be. Spoiler, Paladin mains have a lot to be excited about. So grab a front row seat, grab some snacks maybe, and let's get into it.
So one short overview I can give you about the Paladin on Project Epoch is they are using the TBC style of Paladin, which includes seal twisting, but they adjusted it with a higher seal twisting window. So you have less chance to fail your seal twist with this higher window they adjusted it. But not only the seal twisting is a big part of Paladin, they also put in new talents and new seals for every class. So for example, the undeads have the equivalent of Seal of Blood from TBC, so you can do the classic twisting playstyle, but they also integrated complete new seals. For example, a Dwarf Paladin has a sort of tanking seal, which gives them armor after they charged 5 times or something like this. But we will see all of this in this video, pretty sure, so let's keep watching.
We've got to start with the most exciting addition in this classic world. Epoch brings us Horde Paladins.
Oh yeah, absolutely the best thing about Project Epoch. Horde Paladins, especially Undead Paladins. You can play as an Undead and as a Tauren, for example. Yeah, let's keep watching.
No, not those guys. Undead Paladins. Arise in Death Knell and rekindle your oath to the light. There are new Undead Paladin quests, a new racial seal. You may recognize.
There it is, the new seal, Seal of Penitence it is called here. So this is basically Seal of Blood if I have read this right.
It's similar to Seal of Blood, and of course, a Risen Charger. Paladins in Epoch can utilize the racial knowledge system to customize their racial seal, independent of their character's race. For context, the racial knowledge system in Epoch allows a level 60 player to go on a journey to explore different cultures in Azeroth, including the opposite faction's races. Once you've completed a certain race's quest chain, you unlock the ability to swap your entire racial set for the desired set, and that includes race-sensitive abilities such as seals. This means if you play as a dwarf that seeks the powers of a human, well met, you could swap your entire set of dwarf racials to human racials. That includes losing Seal of the Mountain in order to gain Seal of Vengeance. Just a quick note that this.
So a few things here. Seal of Vengeance is the TBC version of it, so you can hit 5 times to increase the stacking count basically for a dot. And Seal of the Mountain is the tanking one, which I talked earlier about. I hope he also shows this in this video as well. Another point about this, if you swap your seals on Project Epoch, if you swap your racial skills, then you will lose your seals you had before, so you can only have one special kind of seal as a paladin. You can also swap to a non-paladin class there, for example gnomes, but then you won't have access to any special seal, you only have your baseline spells done.
This racial knowledge system will have a 2-week cooldown. Another general Paladin change is the introduction of hands. Utility blessings such as sacrifice, protection, and freedom are now considered hands, meaning they will no longer remove blessings on your target. And to improve quality of life, auras are now
So for the hand system, it's basically the same from Wrath of the Lich King. Project Epoch is running on a Wrath of the Lich King client, so you can have one blessing all the time, like Kings or Wisdom, and as well you can use your utility hands like Sacrifice, Protection, or Freedom as well.
Raid-wide, certainly simplifying raid group organization.
Yeah, sorry, I cut in between what you said. So auras are also raid-wide here, so you only need one paladin for a raid to give its aura to the whole raid, basically.
Now it's time to introduce a brand new seal. Seal of Dedication. This seal unlocks unprecedented levels of paladin cleave damage, whether you're a Retribution Paladin carving through packs of monsters, or a Prot Paladin who needs to generate snap AoE threat. This seal is powerful.
So on other private servers, they adjusted Seal of Command to this. That gives Paladin an option to cleave as well and to do AoE damage in large packs of groups, which is a really cool adjustment in my opinion for the Retribution and also the Protection Paladin.
It is ridiculously good. Honestly, that right there is a defining class thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ross is really excited about this new seal.
I can understand why, and on theory this sounds really, really strong.
Now, let's dive deeper into Retribution. We'll explore the itemization and spell changes that will reshape the way you gear and play your Paladin. Crusader Strike has changed to deal 75% of your weapon damage as Holy. Hammer of Wrath will no
Holy damage is not mitigated by armor, so I don't know if they put in a holy resistance on Project Epoch. If not, this spell will hit really, really hard. Way harder than the 110% version, which get mitigated by armor on SOD or other versions. So especially on PvP this might be a problem, but we will see how good this will be. On theory it sounds really, really strong, maybe too strong.
No longer reset your swing timer. Just one less annoying interaction to think about while you're smashing your keys.
Oh, that's also really, really good. So you can use this like judgment on Classic WoW, so you don't interrupt your swing time anymore, which doesn't interfere with your twisting, which makes twisting also way better on Project Epoch and easier with less possible mistakes. So really strong.
You may be noticing a theme. Paladins are doing a lot more holy damage and thus scaling a lot better with spell power. For that reason, unlike Classic, you need not compete for every highly sought after attack power or strength agi piece. Instead, the Epoch developers try to employ common sense as much as possible. This is the custom dungeon set. Notice that there is an abundance of spell power to synergize with this new playstyle.
Okay, let's read into this. I haven't seen the sets before, so let's see. Increase the critical strike chance of your sealed spells that are capable of critically striking by 2%. Okay, cool. Damaging an enemy with Hammer of Wrath empowers your Consecration, reducing its mana cost by 80% for 8 seconds. I really like this, because this is a quality of life change for your set. That's the same they did in Season of Discovery, to make certain playstyles more viable, because Consecration uses up a lot of mana. So you have to adjust your rotation a bit with your new T-set, but it allows you to use your spells more effective. I really love this way they are doing their itemization, and it really helps out the Paladin class as a hybrid. Great change. And let's see the last one. Crusader Strike now has a 33% chance to make your next Hammer of Wrath usable on any target regardless of the health. Yeah, so this is like a retail trigger basically, which requires a weak aura to make it more effective, of course, but it's also a nice change because it gives you another button to press for doing your spell. I like this. I really like this. I like the way they do this with the set bonuses. Really cool way to do it and makes the Paladin really strong in my opinion.
An important note here, these dungeon set questlines will be available at launch.
Increases the damage and healing of Holy Shock by 4%. I am really interested on how they will do the Shockadin on the server. I would absolutely love to see a viable Shockadin DPS spec on the server like they did on Season of Discovery. Let's hope they will do a set for it.
They are not just pieces of catch-up gear. When it comes to PvP, Retribution Paladins can combine Avenging Wrath and Seal of Dedication to unleash further improved bursts of damage on their enemies. They've got decent utility, and of course a few iconic CC abilities. Rest assured, there's nothing to worry about when it comes to how well a Retribution Paladin stacks up against the competition. Of course, as any Paladin knows, your mobility will still be lacking. From my time chatting with Lil Jon and Ross, they've made it clear that Ret Paladin performance across the board is nothing to scoff at. During the betas, they've experimented heavily and found builds that succeed with slow and fast weapons, which means greater weapon choice variety.
There is no Art of War, right? And there is no funneling of your attack power and spell power, I think, in the talent tree when I last saw it. So this might be good because it might be too strong, to be honest. I'm not sure if Exorcism is viable on this server yet. I haven't tried that. I don't know if Exorcism will be an instant cast or if it will have a cast time and no support for it, which would be a bit strange. But yeah, I will try this out for sure later on when I will play the server.
Well, that's it for Ret. Let's move on to the Holy Paladin. Holy Paladins still dish out heavy burst healing while maintaining Steadfast, but they've had a few alterations to their spellbook and received an exciting new talent. Seal of Light has been made way more effective, now amplifying the incoming Judgment of Light, and it can crit. Divine Illumination has changed.
So, wait. I have to read this again. Unleashing the seal's energy will judge an enemy for 20 seconds, granting attacks and spells made against a judged enemy a chance of healing the attacker, so the same as before. And if the attacker is at full health, they receive 5% increased healing from this judgment until it successfully heals, so it stores up the healing, right? Your melee strikes will refresh the spell duration, okay. So, okay, that's a way better version of it, but is it only for yourself or is it for the whole group? If it's for the whole group, this would be, or the whole raid, this would be absolutely broken and would make a melee Holy Paladin class viable.
Amplifying the incoming Judgment of Light, and it can crit. Divine Illumination has changed, and if used correctly, it can be considered a buff in PvP.
Yeah, they nerfed this basically because they don't want the Holy Paladin to be a healer with infinite mana basically. Maybe that's good, yeah.
Now grants a significant amount of haste rather than mana cost reduction.
And it also causes forbearance now if you use it, so yeah, it's absolutely nerfed to be honest.
But notice it also carries forbearance. The mana refund from the talent Illumination has been bumped up to 75%. While
yeah, that's what I was talking about, yeah.
Holy Light received base mana cost reductions. These changes should help the mana economy for the spec quite a bit. Finally, a new talent has joined the fray. Overwhelming Light will give you opportunities to splash heals off of a target.
So that's the way how they give AoE healing for Holy Paladins. Okay, I see. Yeah, nice change.
This gives Holy Paladins some interesting group healing capabilities. Something they wouldn't have access to for a few more expansions.
Yep.
On the PvP front, Shakadins rejoice, as the TBC baseline stat changes will allow you to keep healing power gear on and still receive a third of your healing power as spell power. You will be doing big damage without sacrificing a ton of healing. Still,
so you can be a hybrid with a good damage output now. This could be cool on PvP, but if they only still have the hard cast, then they will still suck on PvP, to be honest.
Holy Paladins do have low mobility and flexibility when it comes to instant healing, and can be vulnerable to periods of interrupts and CC. Lil Jon did a great job elaborating here.
Holy Pally has very low movement. They don't really have any peeling capability. They get shot down by interrupts more than any other class or silences.
Yeah, okay, exactly like in TBC.
Because the only instant cast you have is Holy Shock, and more often than not, you do that for damage. Because Holy Shock damage is way more valuable than Holy Shock healing.
Now one last point, a little birdie did
So they will suck in arena.
tell me, with talents and a new PvP set bonus, you may be able to use Hammer of Justice every 25 seconds. Yeah, let's just move on to Prop Paladins. Defenders of the Light, welcome. The Protection School doesn't shy from changes either. Avengers Shield is now instant cast.
That's really, really good and really important for Protection Paladins.
Defender will mitigate damage on attacks taking you below the threshold correctly, fixing a major weakness and making this talent more consistent.
Okay, that's really cool. That's kind of a shield wall they get, and also it reduces the whole damage by 6%, it seems like. Good change.
And as mentioned earlier, unleashing Seal of Dedication with Judgment produces great AoE damage, and thus great AoE threat.
So I don't know how the other tanks are, but it seems like that Protection Paladins will be the most effective AoE tanks still without a chance on the server.
In preliminary dungeon and raid testing, prod paladins performed amazingly, and I was told they are an easy lock for a tank slot in most raid teams.
And they also have a taunt, that's really important.
You can main tank as a paladin on Epoch. I've even been told there are ways to two-hand tank in lower level dungeons as well as at 60, of course depending on the encounter. When it comes to leveling, really any spec with paladins will do. Specs like Ret will see faster power spikes as you reach Crusader Strike. Even holy paladins will have a smoother time soloing outside of dungeons, you know, when your DPS and tank friends are offline. I was informed that improved Seal of Righteousness was not scaling correctly in Classic, but in Epoch, this talent will properly improve the spell damage from the seal.
The next question is this only for Seal of Righteousness, or will this also include the racial seals? I'm really interested in that.
That means holies carry a big weapon and swing away. Finally, AoE farming as prot only got better with the Seal of Dedication, spell power scaling with Consecration, and instant Avenger shields.
So spell power scaling for Consecration, higher holy shock damage, and working Seal of Righteousness could make Shockadin, even with further support, a viable DPS spec. It really depends on how they will support this class with item sets, but then it could be a viable DPS class, which would be absolutely awesome.
Now, one negative is apparent: mana economy. Depending on how much you love casting spells, you may need to drink a bit more often than the original version of Classic or TBC. That being said, there is an argument that the damage per mana is also more efficient, so do with that what you will.
I don't like that, to be honest. I don't think it's a good system if you have to prepare a lot of mana pots like in Classic WoW as Retribution Paladin to make your class viable. It should be inherent in the class system. Not the biggest fan of this, but I have to see how it will really work out on the game.
Now, for those who want to consider further optimizations, for racial sets, maybe consider using Orc racials for more AP and SP, or Tauren if you want to be extra beefy.
Yeah, but if you go Orc like he tells you here, you won't get a special seal. Keep that in mind.
Professions also carry some Wrath-like self-benefits in Epoch, so you could consider enchanting and tailoring to give yourself more spell power, or Alchemy is not a terrible choice either, offering stronger flask effects for yourself. The additions to racial knowledge in the profession system leave a lot for experimentation. Start theory crafting your own perfect paladin, because there's a lot of mystery out there. Epoch has no accessible item database or loot tables at this time. That means thousands of unknown items are awaiting. Who knows what kind of new weapons, trinkets, and armors are waiting for us? Before we wrap this up, I'm gonna have to address the elephant in the room. Seal twisting. Look, there isn't gonna be an easy way to summarize every nuance, but generally yes, seal twisting does exist on Epoch with a slightly larger window, and it is a bonus to DPS.
Yep, that's what I was talking at the beginning. It's way easier to seal twist with this. If you want to learn how to seal twist on normal Classic, you can find this in this video, and on this change here it will be way easier. I will do a guide for this later on when I'm on the server, and I will look up or write our own weak aura to make this viable with a swing timer for you.
But there are viable builds for those who want to avoid it. I think this topic is obviously very contentious, but there is an FAQ dedicated to this. It's curated by the same geniuses I've consulted for today's video. Please check the links in the channel description to find out more about twisting and other nuanced paladin knowledge. Well, that was my very best attempt at summarizing the paladin and its changes in Epoch. Thank you again to Lil Jon and Ross for teaching me everything they could as fast as possible. If you enjoyed this Epoch class overview, please subscribe as I'll have more of these videos soon.
Yes.
Let me know in the comments, will you be playing Paladin, or which class do you want to hear about next? Stop by my YouTube on launch day and going forward, because I'll be streaming as much Project Epoch as possible. I'd love to sit around with you guys and chat while we wait in queue. Thank you all. This is Muzzy signing out.
Yeah, so thank you very much, MuzzyTV, for letting me react on this. Go to MuzzyTV's YouTube channel, subscribe to him and support him. I will link the original video as well as his channel down below. And for myself, I will do a full guide on Paladin, Retribution Paladin, Paladin and other specs, as well as probably other classes for Project Epoch in the future. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this useful, consider to like and subscribe for more World of Warcraft Project Epoch content.